aspettiamo comunque sempre delle ottime prestazioni anche dal giovane Campone. L'Ingrad ieri non era proprio soddisfattissimo, però ha vinto una gran bella gara ieri. Sono stati
Well, after one of the best races in Italian F4 history yesterday, we are ready to go this morning for the second of 3 races here at Monza for round 4 of the Italian F4 Championship certified by the FIA. We had a fantastic head-to-head battle yesterday between our 2 championship leaders, and we also broke the lap record. Ugo Ugachukwu beating the lap record that had previously been held by Lando Norris for 6 years, the 152.863, as he charged through to take the win on track. But post-race, there were some changes. Ugo Ugachukwu receiving 3 penalties in total, and he received a 20-second penalty, meaning Arvid Lindblad took the win. We'll talk more about that in a sec. Let's go to the grid with Lara.
So considering yesterday's intense on-track action and the potential for overtaking on this circuit, what is your primary goal for today's race?
Yeah, well, this track you can overtake it pretty much any corner if you get a good enough run. So the strategy today is just to go out there and try to make the most out of this position. We'll see where I get to by the end of the race, but it's just got to be really aggressive with it. So we'll see how that goes.
Thank you.
Good to hear from Gianmarco Pradel there on the grid with Lara. Took 9th place yesterday after those penalties were installed. It wasn't just Ugo Ugachukwu who received those 3 different penalties. One for the contact with Arvid Lindblad down the start-finish straight as they fought for the lead, and then 2 track violations whilst overtaking Lindblad and Tapolen as well. Let's go to Rafael Narak, who's with Lara.
So you are starting from the midfield. What's your strategy to get off to a strong start from this position?
Yeah.
So what's your strategy for today? You are in the midfield.
I don't know.
Well, Rafael Narak a bit lost for words there, but let's hope. I'm sure that means that his mind fully on the race this morning, but generally doesn't really know what to say. And I was a bit lost for words after that race yesterday as well. Let's hear what Valentin Klus has to say, and hopefully has to say something.
How do you manage the adrenaline to ensure the best possible start while waiting for the lights to go out?
Yeah, I just need to focus and breathe and just focus on the front.
Thank you.
Straight to the point from Valentin Glus. Good to hear focus on the front. saying there, and has to focus. So Rafael Narak and Valentin Klus will start from row 8, right in the middle of the field. Well, there you can see the field. As I said, those penalties yesterday, and some of them have affected the grid penalties for Lucchetti and Zachary David, but that doesn't affect the front 2 rows. Arvid Lindblad and Brando Badouer will be on row number 1, Kasper Stuka and Ugo Chukwu on row number 2, the McLaren Junior. Now needs to get a win here and beat his championship rival Arvid Lindblad, who leads him by 50.5 points after those penalties were installed yesterday. Brando trying to chase his first win of the season. Akshay Bora, one of his best qualifying performances. Good to see him on row number 3, trying to get his first podium in Italian F4. James Wharton alongside him. Not the best race by his high standards yesterday. Tuka Tapanen and Rashid El Daheri, who had a suspension failure at Parabolica yesterday, comes next. Then it's Alfio Spina, who went from 18th up to P5. Ivan Dominguez alongside him, he received a bit of a penalty, as did Nicola Lacorte and Ariel Elkin. We heard from Gianmarco Pradel. He is alongside Zachary David, one of the lead contenders in the championship, but not one of the lead drivers this weekend. Rafael Narak and Valentin Klus are next. Nandavud Bidombakti and Aurelia Nobels, who was spun round at the first corner, are on row 9. Andrea Frasinetti and James Agozi come next. Then it's Ryoki Liu and the Alpine junior Mateus Ferreira. Matteo Quintarelli and Jack Beaton will be on row number 12. Ethan Isher for Genza Motorsport comes next alongside Tina Hausman, and then Finn Wiebelhaus and Victoria Blochina. Tina recovering well after the crash he had at Spa. Frederick Lund, who was involved in some dramas yesterday, is next alongside Diego Della Torre. Ishmael Ahmed is after that, and then Guido Lucchetti. 32 drivers, not 33. Davide Larini had a big off in Q1 on Friday. He was okay, but the car sadly isn't, and he's had to withdraw from the weekend. As you can hear, I am pretty much still catching my breath back from the race that we had yesterday. If you missed it, I do suggest between this and the final race of the weekend, which will be at 2:20 local time, I do suggest you go and watch it. You will enjoy it, I can tell you that. It was an absolutely sensational race. Ian Salverstream, as you can probably hear, sadly not here this weekend to call the action for you, unfortunately. I'm sure feels very strange watching it without him, but he messaged me yesterday and said that has to be the best race for at least 3 seasons. So Ian did enjoy it. He's over at Sarno covering another WSK event, the karting taking place over there. He is watching on and really enjoying things. He'll be back for the remainder of the season. Arvid Lindblad, though, the Red Bull Junior, it was Red Bull versus McLaren yesterday, as he and Ugo Chukwu went head to head. He took the win from Brando Badouer. Tuka Tapanen was third, and it was Kasper Stuka, Alfio Spina, James Wharton, Akshay Bora, James Agozi, Gianmarco Pradel and Mateus Ferreira. As I said, we had those 3 penalties for Ugo Chukwu. Ivan Dominguez got a 5-second penalty for an unsafe rejoin at Ascari. Nicola Lacorte got a 5-second penalty for a track violation while overtaking Stuka. These were mostly for cutting over that first chicane or the second chicane, and Victoria Blochina received a 5-second penalty for a similar incident. So cutting over the chicanes is being looked on very, very closely. The guys have to be careful of that, but let's hope we get great action like we did yesterday. I'm Chris McCarthy. It's a real pleasure to be here to call you the action this weekend at Monza. Round number 4 as we enter the second half of the season. 7 rounds in total taking place. This race number 2 of 3 for the weekend. 30 minutes plus 1 lap in total. Brando Badouer will be desperate to get that first win. Arvid Lindblad, our championship leader, will look to build on his championship lead and put one hand on that trophy for the 10th Italian F4 title. Here we go then. To the left of screen is Badouer, to the right Lindblad, and we all go for the second time this weekend here at Monza. A couple of stallers down the field, one of the PHM cars, maybe a couple of them in fact, it looked like stalling off the line, but our leader's getting away safely, and Kasper Stuka in the all black there gets himself himself into second place, but the Prema car of Ugo Chukwu going round the outside. The McLaren Junior getting himself up to second place. A great start from him yesterday. He's gone from P4 to P2 at the Rettifilo as they come round Curva Grande now. Akshay Bora in the green and blue colours there on the outside. He's trying to get himself into the top 4, but it's the Red Bull Junior, Lindblad, leading the way from his teammate Ugo Chukwu, but Kasper Stuka now trying to go round the outside of Ugo Chukwu as they come into the Della Roggia. Do we see a change of place? Yes, we do. So it's Stuka then who goes back into second place. Ugo Chukwu in third, just trying to identify Badouer. He is in P4, and then in P5 it looks like James Wharton from Akshay Bora. The stallers, it appears, were Bidham Bhakti and Blochina, sadly. They were the two cars who didn't get away very quickly, but they have got going now. They haven't been stranded on the start-finish straight. The start is under investigation, so we'll see. Any more information I get on that, I will bring to you. To Ascari for the first time, lock up there from one of the Van Amersfoort cars. I think that might have been Ivan Dominguez, but managed to recover it safely as they now make their way down to the Parabolica for the first time. Slipstreaming, a big thing down here, and the start-finish straight yesterday. Lindblad actually was able to concede the lead, didn't mind doing it because he'd take it straight back going down the start-finish straight, as there we can see that looks like the 17 being challenged, Ivan Dominguez from one of the Genza cars. Fantastic racing in the middle of the field as we go down the start-finish straight for the first time, and Lindblad looking in his mirrors there as he leads Kasper Stuka across the line from Ugo Chukwu in third. Badouer in fourth place. We are side by side then for fifth place as James Wharton goes down the inside of Akshay Bora. Akshay Bora going to the outside, and he's going to cut us across the first chicane there, going late on the brakes, locked up, and to avoid any incidents, he decided to go straight over, and he's lifted off on the exit to allow James Wharton to come back alongside him as they come round Curva Grande now and down into the next chicane. In fact, that's Tuukka Tappinen, isn't it? They're side by side. James Wharton in the other Prema car just ahead. So Tuukka Tappinen and Akshay Bora fighting away with each other there. Rashid Al-Daheri next in the Yas Heat colours. He is being challenged by one of the other Prema drivers, which looks to be Nicolas Lacorte. Will want to recover some ground after receiving that penalty yesterday. We've got Alfio Spina trying to work his way up the order as well. A brilliant drive from the young Italian yesterday for BBM Racing, who have won here in the past. He's looking to try and get on the move early doors. But Arvid Lindblad setting a fast pace. Yesterday the track temperatures were very high. I expect them to be the same as we go into race 3 a little bit later on this afternoon. But a little bit cooler so far, and that might mean we can go full attack just like we did yesterday all the way to the flag, but even more so this time. We might see exaggerated attacks from the drivers as the track is cooler out there. Into the final corner we go. Lindblad from Stuka, from Ugo Chukwu. Oh, one of the Genza cars absolutely sending it into Parabolica there. Fantastic racing as they come on to the start-finish straight. We're absolutely side by side. We've got one of the PHM cars in that battle as well. Down the start-finish straight, there's Alfio Spina in the number 9 in the yellow and black, trying to get on the attack of Tuukka Tappinen. Into the first chicane, Spina versus Tappinen. Then behind that, this the midfield. Oh, a bit of contact. One of the RHGP cars runs straight over the chicane. That was Rafael Narak rejoining on the exit now, and it's Alfio Spina who has set the fastest lap, 154. We were doing 152s, high 152s yesterday as we broke the lap record for Formula 4 for the Monza circuit. 3 wide in the background here. Look at this, it's all going off, but this the lead pack, and I can tell you they're a lot more settled this morning than they were yesterday. A lot of lessons being learned from that one as side by side in the background into the first Lesmo, the number 10 of Valentin Klus trying to make a move. Just said he just has to keep his head in this race, wants to try and make some places early on. For those of you who have risen early to watch this one, thank you for tuning in to live pictures. It's I'm sure going to be another fantastic race. They might just be pacing themselves so far but believe me, that's just to count down the clock if they are doing so. Once we get into that second half of the race, it will really go off. And Ugachukwu, I said this a few times yesterday, in third. He is the one to watch, but even more so than yesterday now. The gap between he and Lindblad yesterday, 25.5 points. We're on half points because of that shortened race at Spa last time out, where the red flags came out. Big lock-up from one of the Van Amersfoorts there into the Rettifilio. And one of the RSGP cars runs straight on. This we can see the number 31 and the 76, so it's Rafael Narak. That's a replay of what we saw, and I think that was Aurelio Nobels as well, who had to go over the first chicane. Side by side for the lead, so Kasper Stuka has decided now is time to get on the attack. He can see Ugachukwu in his mirrors. He's in a bit of a Prema Racing sandwich here. And the US racing driver trying to get on the move. There's Akshay Bora doing a superb job so far in P6. Oh, Aurelio Nobels. No, that's at the Parabolica. And unfortunately, she's had a bit of a spin as that looked like a attempted move by James Wharton, I think that was, and he's lost a couple of places on the exit. So a change for P4 now as Akshay Bora into the first Lesmo takes 5th place. In fact, that is good driving there from Bora to Katapanen behind. And then we have behind that Alfio Spina, the young Italian, P16 to P5 after the penalties were induced yesterday. Watch for Alfio Spina, though. He was very, very quick coming through. Safety car is out, so maybe watch for him once we go racing again, as it's Aurelio Nobels. Not a good weekend for the Ferrari Driver Academy member so far, unfortunately. Spun round yesterday, similar incidents today, albeit this time at Parabolica. Well, we can see Arvid Lindblad weaving, and I can tell you that's not to warm up the tyres, that is simply to slow the pace down. Not going to be doing much warming of the tyres at that speed, as Aurelio Nobels there. We caught the end of it, really, didn't we? But here we go. This is Arvid Lindblad. We saw this yesterday, and this is our championship leader, just slowing the clock down. He'll catch the safety car at his own pace. He'll get round the final corner. Clever driving from a man who leads the championship. Oh dear, that's a puncture there for Ivan Dominguez, and that's going to be the end of his race, coming down to the Rogia chicane. Clearly contact somewhere, and Dominguez, who picked up a penalty after the race yesterday for an unsafe rejoin after going off at Ascari, now finds himself out of the race. There you can see the safety car patiently waiting, and Arvid Lindblad will catch it at his own time. I've seen plenty of races, I'm sure you Italian F4 fans, and whether you're new to Italian F4 and just enjoy feeder series racing, you'll see there's plenty of instances when a race is 30 minutes plus a lap that the cars will reach the start-finish line with 15 seconds to go, and that will mean 2 laps to go rather than 1 lap to go. It's 30 minutes plus an additional lap, of course, and if Arvid Lindblad can knock off 10-15 seconds by just slowing the pace down, he could save an entire lap of having to defend that lead, and that's exactly why he's doing what he is. Let's go through the order then while we are behind the safety car. Now the cars have all safely joined it. Lindblad leads from Stuka, Ugachukwu, the McLaren Junior in third, the Red Bull Junior leading the way. Barouer is the top Italian. He'll be getting plenty of support from the locals around the circuit here, and there's plenty of them. Tuukka Tappinen is 6th, just behind Akshay Bora in 5th. Alfio Spina, the next Italian, in P7. His countryman Nicola Lacorte just behind. James Wharton in 9th, hasn't really got going yet so far, but James Wharton showed at Spa, any time he gets an opportunity, he will grab it with both hands. So don't count the Australian driver out just yet. Rashid Al-Deheri is P10, then it's Gianmarco Pradel. Next is David in the number 20, Kloos in the 10, Ariel Elkin in the 29. James Agozi is 15th. We heard from Rafael Narak on the grid. He's 16th. Quintarelli is 17th. Mateus Ferreira, then it's Krasinetti, Jack Beaton, Liu, Lund, Biron Bhakti, Isha, Wiebelhaus, Hausmann, Della Torre, Lucchetti, Ahmed. This is good news for the likes of Blochina as well, who stalled on the grid along with, I believe it was Ahmed. Those catching up to the pack now. Dominguez and Nobels out of the race. We saw Aurelia walking away from her car. And we see the safety car is going to be in this lap as well. Just under 20 minutes plus a lap to go. The lights will go out on the safety car very shortly. It will blast away from the field. And then the question that we are all thinking, all wanting to know the answer to, is when is Arvid Lindblad going to put his foot down? Now, if you weren't watching race one yesterday or haven't had a chance to watch it back just yet, he put his foot down just coming through the apex of Parabolica. Many of us thought it would either be before the corner or he'll take the car to the line. He went just on the apex of Parabolica, so keep your eyes peeled for that. I wouldn't be surprised if he changes it this time, knowing that the likes of Stuka and Ugachukwu will have learnt from what he did yesterday. So is he going to go just as he turns into the corner? Is he going to take us around the start-finish line? Not weaving as much as he was yesterday, so not as many distraction techniques. He would have planned this out before the race, I can tell you that. It was here that he went yesterday, and there he goes. Arvid Lindblad is going to put his foot down, and we are going to go back racing at Monza here for round 4 of the Italian F4 Championship. This race number 2, and it's worked very well. Stuka under all sorts of pressure now, but he's going to stay in the toe of Lindblad, and Lindblad doing similar things to what he did yesterday. Went to give Ugachukwu the toe, but this time actually giving it back to Stuka. 3 wide behind. We can see Badouer in the orange and black Van Amersfoort going up the inside of 2-3 drivers trying to take second place, head to head in towards the first corner. One of the PHM cars runs wide. Lindblad has kept the lead safely. Who emerges in second? It is Stuka, and it's been a terrible restart for Ugachukwu. He has lost 2 places to Badouer. Bora has come up to 4th place. Behind that is Tapanen as they come down towards the second chicane. Now we can see we're side by side for 3rd place. That is Bora trying to go round the outside of the Van Amersfoort. Can he take 3rd place away from Badouer? We'll find out on the exit. No, it looks like he may have had to cut the chicane, but he's going to lift off the throttle and let Brando back through into P3. Round Lesmo 1, up towards Lesmo 2. Lindblad from Stuka, Badouer. Then it's Bora, Ugachukwu, Taponen, Spina, Lacorte, Wharton, and then in 10th place it is Rashid Al-Daheri. Suspension failure for him yesterday. He'll be hoping to make it to the flag and be in the top 10 and score some points. Up to Ascari now. Not as much overtaking as we saw yesterday from our lead pack, but that could change. Oh, it was one of the Genza cars and the PHM cars going side by side. There was Ariel Elkin in the Genza car going side by side with Valentin Klus into Ascari. Great racing in the mid-pack. In the lead pack, things remain fairly calm, but Ugachukwu dropping to P5 from P3 as we see Ariel Elkin in that Genza car fighting away in towards the final corner in that blue and black Genza. He's now going to be under attack from Mateus Ferreira, is the back of those trios. He's going to try and make his way up the order as Lindblad is defending his lead. Kasper Stuka goes to the outside. Are we going to see an attack here from Stuka? Is he going to try and go all the way around the outside of the Red Bull Junior? Not enough space to do it. Bora defending from Ugachukwu for 4th place. And now Ugachukwu is going to be under pressure from Taponen. Lacorte just behind as well. 3 Prema cars all in a line in that order. The yellow marks next to their names on the left of the screen, by the way, denotes the rookie drivers. We are being led by a rookie in Arvid Lindblad, and Badouer trying to go round the outside of Stuka for 2nd place. Did he quite manage to make it? No, so Stuka holds on to 2nd for now, but the gap is extending to Lindblad. They cannot lose the toe to the race leader. If they do that, he will disappear from the pack. Oh no, that's the 76 car of Raphael Narak. We spoke to him on the grid. Real shame for the Frenchman, and I think that denotes that he's going to go no further in this race. They are going to change the tyre, but possible suspension damage for Nadak there. That's a real shame. He was running right in the mid-pack. Alfio Spina in the yellow and white colours for BVM Racing, leading this quartet. Rashid Al-Daheri just behind him in that Yas Heat car, races for the Prema Racing team. David next, then Wharton. Gapped between Lindblad and Stuka, first and second, 0.8 of a second. Will we see second and third begin to work with each other here now to try and claw the gap back into Lindblad? Rashid Al-Daheri is the car now to the right of screen. We can see the one car pulling out of the toe to try and make a move on Alfio Spina. Is he going to do it? Ugo Chukwu going to try and get past Akshay Bora in towards turn number one. The American diving down the inside at the first chicane. Will he be able to make it through? No, a lock up from Al-Daheri as he tries to go past Spina, and Spina has to cut across the first chicane there. Alfio Spina tucks back in the toe now behind Nicola Lacorte. James Wharton losing more places here, having a really difficult time out there. The number 20 of Zachary David, now one of the lead cars in the championship, beginning to make his way into the top 10 for the first time this weekend. Oh, Ugo Chukwu almost contact there with Bora as they went into the second chicane. Up to Lesmo 1 now, and two of the Prema cars side by side. 7 of them out there in total, make that 6 after Nobel's having to retire from the race. Spina into Lesmo 2, dives down the inside of Lacorte, and Lacorte is off into the gravel. Forceful driving from Alfio Spina on his countryman there. Lacorte did not expect it at all and found himself coming off into the gravel. Will not be happy with that one, but it's a place gain for Alfio Spina. He saw an opportunity and absolutely sent it into Lesmo 2. And now Lacorte is going side by side with Rashid Al-Daheri. Here we go, we see a replay now. You don't usually see overtakes there, and Lacorte will argue, I'm sure, that where else was I supposed to go on the exit? Look at that, Alfio Spina running slightly wide, understeered into the corner, having carried a lot of speed, and Lacorte will be absolutely furious with that one. Found himself off into the gravel, but for now, let's focus back on our leaders. Lindblad just checking his mirrors briefly there. Bora in that green and black US racing car, having to defend from Ugo Chukwu once more. Ugo Chukwu wants to get by, and he's done it before we even get to the first chicane. Good driving from the American, but now he has to close the gap down to the lead 3. Black and white flag, unsurprisingly, for Alfio Spina. Warning goes out to him. Lacorte out of the top 10 after that as Bora gets up the inside through Curva Grande there on Ugo Chukwu. Down to the Rogier chicane now. Who's going to emerge in 4th place? Who's going to emerge in the lead? Look at that, Bora trying to squeeze Ugo Chukwu to the inside there. But Ugo Chukwu getting his elbows out and holding on to that place. Good clean racing between these two so far. Entertaining for us to watch, no doubt, but they can see the top 3 escaping up the road. 1.5 seconds it is between Badoer and Bora in 4th place. Bora now 5th, Ugo Chukwu up into 4th. Into Ascari, Lindblad, Stuka and Badoer. Those are our top 3. As we come down to Parabolica, when are we going to see Kasper Stuka make his move for the lead on Arvid Lindblad? Will Brando Badoer make his move for 2nd place? Are we seeing them run the clock down, or is this just a case of Arvid Lindblad's pace is so quick that all Kasper Stuka can do is maybe get to the outside into the first chicane, but can't quite make attacks anywhere else? It could be the latter. Arvid Lindblad is setting a very good pace out front. Here's Stuka though, he's got a good run this time, hasn't he, as we come across the start-finish line. Will he surprise Lindblad with a move to the inside when he does not expect it? Lindblad taking no risk there and dives to the inside, checking his mirrors briefly just to see where Stuka is. And once again, Stuka slots in behind as we come out of the Rettifilio chicane. Through Curva Grande, Stuka's going to have to change tactics here. what is happening right now isn't quite working, is it, to get him into the lead. He'll know that though, and he's going to try and now get up the outside into the Roggia chicane. He's going to try and go all the way around the outside and has to cut across the chicane. Well, how many times have we seen that so far this weekend from all drivers, trying to make moves down the outside into the Roggia chicane and then just cutting straight across it and giving the place back. I'll tell you what, while all this is going on though, look at Ugo Chukwu in 4th place and Bora in 5th place. Bora has just slotted in behind the McLaren Junior driver and is just letting him tow him up to the top 3. It's clever driving from them both. They're not battling with each other and they've been rewarded for it now. They have caught the top 3. 3 becomes 5 for the lead of the race. And I tell you what, it could become about 12 if we keep going as we are, because Tapanen is closing in. He's bringing with him Alfio Spina. Wharton is not too far behind that. He's bringing Aldeheri with him. And then we've got Zachary David, who's bringing Valentin Klus with him as well. And also Lacorte, who has for company Klus as well. Ferreira is behind him, but so there's been a change of position there, hasn't there? Klus and David swapping round. As this is Mateus Ferreira going side by side with Ariel Elkin down the start-finish straight. It's Elkin to the inside, Ferreira in the Alpine colours to the outside and slamming the door in the place of, I think that might have been Jack Beaton. 3 wide into the first chicane. Look at this, welcome to Italian F4 racing as the Van Amersfoort car, the number 45 there, making a great move into the first chicane. Jack Beaton doing a brilliant job to get himself in the lead of this quartet. And he's going to lead them round Curva Grande. The top 5 are all together now. Fastest lap from Ugo Chukwu last time round as Beaton goes side by side with Ariel Elkin. I think that is an Ariel Elkin getting through and making the position there. And that's going to lose Jack Beaton 1, 2, 3 places on the exit of the corner. Disastrous second chicane for the Van Amersfoort driver, and Ariel Elkin now in the lead of this group, but he's received the black and white flag. Would have been a quick response if it was for that. I think that might have been for a separate incident. Tapanen and Spina doing their best to try and catch the lead 5. This is the battle in the mid-pack. Great racing between these guys. Although it might not be for points, this could be your battle for the lead in the championship next year when drivers further up the field move on to other things. Every position counts. Even if you're not scoring points, it's about winning the battle you are in when you get to the checkered flag. And here we go, down the start-finish straight once again. Lindblad leading us from Stuka. Lindblad controlling this race very nicely, but he now has to contend with 4 drivers behind him, not just 2. Badouet is going to have to be careful here of Ugo Chukwu in 4th place. He'll know that though. Bora doing an absolutely sensational job in 5th place. His best result this season, a P4. As this battle, Jack Beaton once again having to go over that first chicane. If you are not overtaking in this championship, you are passed. It's often pass or be passed, and there's been a little bit of that, sadly, for Beaton. But he's got time to try and recover as the number 20 of Zachary David having to run straight across the chicane there. And this is Rashid Aldeheri, I think it is, coming under threat from Nicolas Lacorte. Lacorte getting down the inside in towards Lesmo 2. Good move from the Bremer driver. Valentin Klus is the other car involved in this battle, it looks like, as they come down the hill, under the tunnel and up to Ascari. Just over 5 minutes plus the additional lap remaining. Who's your money on for this race? It could be any one of the top 6, really. Make that 7, Alfio Spina. What a time he's been putting in over the last couple of laps. He's done a brilliant job, and he's now part of this lead group as well. You'll see them coming through Parabolica. The yellow and white BVM racing car, Alfio Spina. is catching. Got one of his best results of the season yesterday when he got that P5 from P16. That's one of the best drives he's put in, it has to be said. He impressed many around the paddock. Lots of talk about him after that one. As we head down the start-finish straight, Lindblad often defends as we get to the corner. This time doesn't feel the need to, but Brando Badouer almost defending from Ugachukwu there. He knows he's right behind him. Akshay Bora waiting for his opportunity. He's been patient in his approach so far this morning. He's being rewarded for it, but he can't be patient for too long now because Tapanen is behind, and the quickest driver on the track is Alfio Spina. He is next along as, once again, Brando defending into that second chicane. Oh, Akshay Bora going deep on the brakes there. That was not a challenge for position. That was, I'd say, avoiding contact. Ugachukwu responded in the correct manner, just gave him the space and cut across the chicane. Akshay Bora, you could see the smoke coming off his front left tyre as he locked up going into the corner, changed direction of the car to stop himself from going straight into the back of Ugachukwu. And we stay in the same position. Is that a sign of Bora just starting to get a little bit nervous in the middle of that pack? He knows Tapanen is behind. Here we go, watch it again. And look, a lock up there and went down the inside. I don't think that was really a challenge for position. I could be wrong, but that looked like more of an avoidance of contact there. And he's received a black and white flag for it. He's now having to defend, though. It's not done him any favours, is it? He lost time on the exit. Now Tapanen and Spina are just behind. Down the start-finish straight. Look at Spina in the yellow and black. Pulls to the outside of Tuukka Tapanen, Ferrari Academy member. Down the start-finish straight we go. Pulls back in to the toe, and this is the closest I think Stuka has been for the race lead. He's going to give it a go round the outside and has to back off the throttle into the left-hander at the Rettifilio chicane there. And that's going to lose him time on the exit. You can see what that's done to him. Solid defence once again from Arvid Lindblad. James Wharton, now the quickest driver on circuit, as Tapanen trying to get down the inside of Spina through Curva Grande, going on the grass briefly, as here comes Ugachukwu in the red and white Prema car down the inside of Badouer. Not quite able to get through. Badouer having to cut across that chicane. Into Lesmo 1 we go, and now it's Bora's turn to get on the attack into Lesmo 1. Down into Lesmo 2, very close racing once again in Italian F4. Not over yet. Just under 2 minutes plus a lap still to go, and it could all change on that final lap. Stuka's at a good length behind here to get a very good tow down to Parabolica. Did well to keep second place as he was delayed through the first chicane there. Here we see them. This wasn't the last lap, was it? This was a couple of laps ago. We can see the slow motion of them coming through that first chicane. And Ugachukwu is getting a little bit impatient now. He's putting Brando Badouer under pressure, and it is working. Coming out of the final corner, you need a good run out of here, otherwise you will be passed going down the start-finish straight. Kasper Stuka has to close the gap down. 2 laps to go as we cross the start-finish line to complete lap 15. Alfio Spina, side by side with Tapanen, in towards the Rettifilio chicane. We go for the penultimate time. Spina down the inside there. And he's going to make a place. Oh, contact there with Zachary David and Nicola Lacorte. And Lacorte is going to get front wing damage. I think that will be a puncture for Zachary David, possibly. Clip the front wing there of Lacorte. That could be a puncture for him, but let's focus on the battle for third place. Badouer and Ugachukwu side by side. Ugachukwu, great attack from him. He goes round the outside and into third place. Not sure if he'll have time to catch the leaders, but you never know, a battle could start between Lindblad and Stuka. Ugachukwu into the podium positions now. Badouer's going to have to defend from Bora. this is what happened then. So it's David to the inside. To the outside is Lacorte. Lacorte then can't quite get his car straightened up in time, clips the tyre of David. And there you can see, clipped it before as well, didn't he? David, you could see the rotation of the car. I think Zachary David might have got away with that one. I think both drivers have. In fact, there'll no doubt be some front wing damage to that car of Nicola Lacorte. Those fighting for the lower positions in the top 10. Okay. Down to Parabolica for the penultimate time. The gap between the leaders, 7/10 of a second. Kasper Stuka needs a good run out of here to try and get a good tow down that start-finish straight and get himself into a position to attack into the second chicane. He won't be in a position to do so into the Rettifilo chicane, but into the Rogers chicane. He needs to be right there with the Red Bull Junior. The Red Bull Junior watching his mirrors all the way down the start-finish straight. He can see Stuka is getting closer and closer. Tappanen getting closer to Spina. Spina defending in the background. Tappanen now going to the outside. Ugo Chukwu defending from Badouer as well. As side by side, oh, a big contact there. That's Tuukka Tappanen going up in the air. He's off the circuit. That'll be the end of his race. His race ending in dramatic fashion there. The Finnish driver out of the race, unfortunately. But let's go back to our leaders. We won't see any safety cars. That is going to be after the checkered flag has been waved. Two battles going on now in the leaders here. Bora has suffered from that massively as well. He is tumbling down the order, sadly. That's a real shame for him. He put in a solid race. But we are battling for the lead here. Stuka right with Lindblad. Are we going to see a change for the lead on the final lap? These two went to wars back at Spa and it ended dramatically. Last time we saw these two going head-to-head like this for the lead, we saw them both not finishing the race. Let's hope it's a clean battle this time as they come now into Ascari. Is Stuka going to be able to get a good run out of here and try into Parabolica? Out of Ascari, looks like Lindblad's done just enough for me, but you never know, could make a mistake and Stuka's going to do his best to distract him. Ugo Chukwu, if he had one more lap with the pace he's going at, he might have got involved in this. Badouer likewise, changed for third between those two in the last couple of laps. But let's focus on our leaders. Our championship leader will take us round Curva Alboreto for the final time and up to the start-finish line. And it's going to be 2 wins out of 2 for Arvid Lindblad this weekend. This time, he takes the checkered flag first. A fantastic win from the Red Bull Junior, who further extends his lead in this Italian F4 Championship. Kasper Stuka finishing in P2 and Ugo Chukwu rounds out the podium finishers. Smiles all round from the Prema Racing team. They had a driver who ended in the gravel sadly at turn 1, but another one of their drivers takes the win in Arvid Lindblad, and Ugo Chukwu put in a fantastic final lap there. There's what's happened to Akshay Bora, pulling off on the exit of turn 1. Hopefully we can see exactly what happened there, and just on cue, we are going to do so. Okay, so Spina makes a bit of contact there with Bora. It looks like Bora picked up an issue there. Bora was slowing down, coming through the first chicane. Hopefully we get another chance to see that, but to me it looked like Bora had some sort of mechanical failure with the car. He was going at an incredibly slow pace and trying to get out of the way on the exit of the corner. Spina had nowhere to go. Tappanen likewise, he's gone over the top of Spina, out of the race. Bora having to pull over with problems of his own. And that a real shame. Akshay Bora had driven so well, and to receive a mechanical like that, some sort of engine issue or electrical failure on the car, it looked like to me, we'll find out after the race, but that a devastating end to his race. And likewise, Tuukka Tappanen put on a great show for all of us out there, didn't he? As did Alfio Spina. A shame that he was caught up in that, but he took the flag in P8. This man took the flag first, though. Arvid Lindblad, who further extends his lead in this championship. He is driving like a man who very hungrily wants to go and win this championship before it is even over. Arvid Lindblad, you can say now, is beginning to put one hand on the trophy in Italian F4. His gap in this championship over Ugo Chukwu will increase by a further 10 points and will go to 60 9.5 points now. That is a hard gap to close down when you've got a man driving like he is in Arvid Lindblad. Pretty much a lights to flag win in the end. Kasper Stuka challenged him all the way, couldn't quite get through though. Ugo Chukwu managing to get by Brando Badouer on the final lap to take third. Badouer couldn't quite get back past Ugo Chukwu, but Ugo Chukwu, the fastest driver out there on the last lap. James Wharton, P5 for him after all the chaos that took place at turn 1. Al Daheri, a very, very solid P6. Great driving from Rashid Al Daheri. That matches his best result of the season so far. Zachary David, good damage limitation driving from him. P7, Alfio Spina finishing in P8. Valentin Klus 9th. We'll go through the rest of the order in a sec, because climbing out of his car now is Arvid Lindblad. Big celebrations. The atmosphere down there will be a lot different to what it was yesterday. Very tense yesterday. No tension this time. Arvid Lindblad, there can be no arguments as to who took that race win and who deserved it the most as well. He drove absolutely superbly, did Arvid Lindblad. A great performance by Kasper Stuka as well, drove a clean race. Did have to avoid some contact a couple of times and cut across the chicanes, but he gave it absolutely everything he could. There was just simply no getting past this man today. And Ugo Chukwu made a great start to the race, fell back a little bit in the middle of it, but recovered very well at the end. Always drives well under pressure, does Ugo Chukwu. And he'll be happy with third. Kasper Stuka finishing in P2. Good points on the board for him, but our championship leader, Arvid Lindblad, is now with Laura.
So, a kind of really perfect race this morning.
Yeah, I think it was more difficult than it looked. You know, I think it was really challenging. Kasper was really fast. He was challenging me. There was a lot of points in the race. I had to defend well and be really on it. He was always really strong in Parabolica, so he was always close into T1, which made it difficult. But I tried my best. I did okay. A mistake on the last lap was stupid from my side. Gave him a chance, but I managed to maintain it. I think the speed was really good, especially the second half of the race. So yeah, really happy with the result. Yeah, super grateful to the team, Mauro, Vincenzo, Laura, Sam, everyone. Super grateful. Thank you.
Ready for the last.
Ready for the last one, yeah. Thank you.
Well, let's look back at where it all started around 30 minutes ago. We had a couple of stormers in the middle of the pack, sadly, one of them being Victoria Blochina stalled off the line, but Arvid Lindblad would lead us down to turn 1, and in that red and white Prema, Ugo Chukwu went round the outside from 4th to 2nd at the Retta Figlio chicane on the first running. Aurelien Abels once again in the wars, sadly facing the wrong way, coming through Parabolica. That brought out an early safety car to the race. And as we got going again, Stuka would get himself back into 2nd place. He'd hold on to it. Ugo Chukwu would drop from 3rd place to 5th with the likes of Badouer and Bora coming through. Bora going toe-to-toe with Tapanen. Ugo Chukwu likewise, and then Spina tried this lunge down the inside. Got side by side with Lacorte, but you can see what it did to Lacorte on the exit. He received a black and white flag for that. And then more battles going on. This time, Ugo Chukwu late on the brakes, locking up, going in towards the Rogier chicane on Badouer. Those two really fought away with each other. Bora was always there in those green and black colours in the middle, as was Alfio Spina. This was the last lap. Bora receiving some sort of mechanical issue here, and that meant they all crunched up behind, and Tapanen went over the top of Spina, which ended his race. It looked more difficult than it was, as Lindblad said. It was a lot harder than it looked, shall I say. But he put in a stern defence to go and take yet another win this season. That his 5th victory of the season, which further extends his lead in this championship over the rest of the field. 60 points between him and Ugo Chukwu. They're 60.5 points exactly after the half-point score at Spa. You can see there he is in P1, Ugo Chukwu 2nd, Wharton 3rd, Zachary David dropping further back, over 90 points back now in 4th. Brando Badouer just behind him has a chance to take P4 in the championship later. Ivan Dominguez just outside it. Rashid Al Daheri moving up the order with some points on the board today, and his best result of the season. Valentin Klus is next along after that, then Matheus Ferreira, James Agozi, Matteo De Paolo. Those are remaining order. We'll go through the rest of the score. So Aldeheri was 6th, Zachary Davis 7th, Spina 8th, Klus 9th, Lacorte in 10th, despite going off at Lesmo 2. Those are point scorers, same points format as Formula 1. No points for fastest lap though, or pole position. Gianmarco Pradel 11th, then Elkin, Ferreira, Isha, Lund rounded out the top 15. Liu, Bidham Bhakti, Beaton, Wiebelhaus, Blochina, Hausmann, Delator, and then Quintarelli, Lucchetti, Ahmed, Frasinetti, a lap down. Bora seemed to pull off on the last lap with mechanical issues, which were further extended after that contact. Tapanen, 28th. It could have been simple contact for Bora, we never know, but to me it looked like that car was slowing down. Retiring from the race, Agozi, Narak, Dominguez, and Nobels. Well, there we can see the drivers on the podium. To the right of screen, 3rd place, Ugo Ugachukwu. To the left of screen, Kasper Stuka, Prema team member, out on the podium as well. They are the winning team with Arvid Lindblad on the top step. 5th in the championship. He was picked up by the Red Bull junior team in karting after putting in superb performances on the European and world stage, and he is reflecting those now and showing why he is part of that world championship winning outfit. Arvid Lindblad puts Red Bull and Prema on the top step here at Monza. Let's hear his national anthem. British driver for the Italian team and the British Formula 1 team as the drivers climb up onto the podium for the pictures. I think it'll be smiles all round there. Kasper Stuka may be a little bit disappointed he didn't quite get past Lindblad, but he'll have a chance to go again later as we will race for race 3, and Ugachukwu will try and get the win that was taken away from him after his post-race penalty yesterday. But Lindblad once again is our winner. We go again for race 3, the final race of the weekend, coming up at 2:20 local time here in Monza. We'll see you then.